Mercedes-Benz stands next to their motto of, "It's the best or nothing." They've been raved about by many car magazines and car reviewers all over the world. Their top of the lineup, the Mercedes S-Class, has held many records in the world, as well on their technology standpoint and their luxury standpoint. Let's see with the 2017 S-Class and see if it still holds its crown.
The S550 rips to 60 miles an hour in 4.6 seconds while going quickly through the quarter mile in 12.8. It has a stopping distance from 60 to 0 in 101 feet.
One thing you can notice from the interior of this car is really how nice and how elegant and the craftsmanship that they've put into this car. You have lots of leather and lots of walnut wood that wrap around the interior and really make you feel very comfortable and very important. So as your main cockpit view, you have two 12-inch screens. Each 12-inch screen is 1080p. One will show you your instrument panel, your speedometer and your RPM gauge. And then from what the really cool part is the other 12-inch screen does all your infotainment. So your radio, your navigation, and if you want to watch a movie, that's another thing. The steering wheel is very nice as well. It also creates this feeling that you're very important. You're driving a very important car. Another thing you'll notice is all the climate control buttons are very nice. They're all metal. You can feel just the laser they put in them. And it runs across the door, and then it goes through the HVAC, and it goes out. Another thing you'll notice is the control. This controls all your entertainment system. So down here you have the wheel, and that can differ where you want to go, bumps, shifts, whatever. And then you have your trackpad right here, so if you want to write something, like if you want to call someone, you can draw out the letters of the name. And overall, it's just very nice, and you're definitely not getting cheated at all on what this looks like. The audio system on this car went through a 9.1 center surround sound by Burmester. It's a German company. And all of the speaker grills are laser cut, and they sound very good. The tweeters are all up here in the doors, and they're in the back. And there's two subs that are front mounted. They're both 11-inch subs that push about 600 watts each, and they do pack a very big punch. So let's talk about one of the more important aspects of the car interior is the seats. The seats are massaging, and they're 7-way adjustable seats. That does not include the lumbar and the bolster supports that also move in, and as you go around turns, they pump up to hold you in the seat. So let's talk about the massaging. The massaging has 6 different modes, 6 different massage settings, and then you can adjust intensity and what you want. It also does heated massage, as well as the seats are also heated and cooled. Another thing that's really cool is how well they can form your body, even if you don't mess with any of the buttons. They do very well. It's very comfortable. The headrests are very comfortable. It's almost just like a Tempur-Pedic pillow in comparison, really. And really, for a long road trip, you'll never be uncomfortable. Overall, this vehicle from the interior looks very nice, very exquisite, and very beautiful. One thing you'll notice about the S-Class and its drive quality is it's this new technology called drive-by-wire. Drive-by-wire is where the steering wheel is not actually connected to the wheels. It's connected to computers that then read out what actually is going on, and they turn the wheels. Now, for some of you who might be thinking, oh, I don't want to do that because I want to have full control of the car, there is a safety clutch in the steering so if that goes out or if that fails, then there's no problems. One thing that I love about this car is how easy it is to drive. You have your paddle shifters up here, your shifters right here. It's easy. You're driving, you just click to drive, up to reverse, and then hit the little button to it. A lot of these cars that have them down on the console, I mean, you're driving a 7,000-pound car, okay? It's not a sports car. If I want it down there, I'm gonna have it in a manual. If I'm not, then just get it out of my way. I mean, people who buy cars like these, they want stuff out of their way. They want to get to where they're going, they want to be there quick, and they want it done. They want it done right, and that's it. And that's what Mercedes has done with this car. Another thing with the new S-Class is it does drive itself. Well, let me clarify. So when they mean by drive itself, it's got an autopilot mode. You hit the Distronic right here, there's a button below the steering, you hit it once, and it drives itself. One thing you do have to do, though, is it does follow the lines on the road. One thing you have to watch out for is it only does it in periods or short periods of time. So it technically drives itself, and it has a good stride towards driving itself, but in reality it's not an A to B sort of thing. First, I'd like to comment on how comfortable this car is. The suspension, the aromatic suspension that they put on these cars is really amazing, and they've been putting them in since about I think it was the early 80s they've been putting in these aromatic suspensions. And I mean, they just roll over these bumps, and it's so nice. And this car weighs so much, and it handles so well for its weight. You just really don't understand until you go out and drive one of these how well it drives. Another thing you'll notice about the car is its power. So if I hit the pedal right now, that power is just amazing. The power that it creates is just second to none. It's got 450 horsepower and 507 foot-pounds of torque, routed to an all-wheel drive system that, I mean, can get you through just about anything. Another thing that you can really watch out for in this car is how well the power delivery is. The power delivery in this car is just something. When you hit the pedal, so the motor is a 5.5 liter bi-turbo V8. So bi-turbo means twin. It's two twin-scroll turbos, so it's so a twin-scroll turbo, for people who don't know who twin-scroll is, it's basically two fans inside of the casing, and it creates no turbo lag, faster response time, and overall better power and better fuel economy. One thing you need to watch out for, though, is when your foot's into it, it can really knock your gas mileage down. Speaking of gas mileage, this car actually gets about 12 to 16 in the city and about 22 highway. The way I've been driving it right now, I'm getting about 11, 12. But then again, my foot's been in it the entire time. So it's just something to watch out for. Something that, somebody who's going to buy this car is really just not going to pay attention to. So let's talk about the performance aspect of this car. So I'm going to put it in sport mode, and we're going to really see what it can kind of do in these turns. First thing I notice is how well this thing poises itself around a turn. One thing that you'll really notice about this car is how well it holds itself on a turn. Right now I'm going through this turn at about 30 miles an hour, and it was just clicking. It was perfect. Just what you want in a car like this. Another thing that you can notice about this car is how, like I said, the suspension, the aromatic suspension, is just absolutely amazing. When you put it in sport mode, it does firm up a little bit. There's not a whole lot of steering feel, but there's enough to where, you're not going to be disappointed. But one thing is if you ever just want to take it down a back road or something like that, it's really something you want to, take advantage of. Many people wonder why a lot of chauffeurs would want to drive this. It's because it handles so well in the city. I mean, this thing turns on a dime. With the all-wheel drive system and how big it is and how much power it has, it just maneuvers great. You can drive this in downtown Manhattan and have no problem. So let's talk about the S-Class competitors. There's the BMW 7 Series, the 750 and the 760. There's the Audi, I believe that's the A8 and the A8L. There's the Bentley, and there's the Rolls. One thing this car does better than all of them is the way it drives. You get in a 7 Series, you get in an Audi, and they tried to make it too much of a sports car. This is definitely not what this is. Yes, it has paddle shifters. Yes, it's got sports suspension. Yes, it has all these stuff. But that's really not what it's meant to drive. This is a highway cruiser, and when you go in town, you're going to be comfortable. If you're stuck in traffic, there's not a problem. Just one thing that really stands out about this car is just the driving is just amazing. I've repeated myself over and over about it, and it just, like I said, ceases to amaze me. It's amazing. Mercedes, this is the best car they have ever made, and I think it has really brought a new name to the luxury lineup.